CLI is the oldest in the computer world. Interaction methods are ushering in a new explosion. Flying book ding ding, Chiwei Google Stripe. In the past 2 weeks, it has been open source. Own CLI products. More and more software is starting to move to CLI. CLI stands for Command Line Interface. In fact, the Command Line Interface CLI is familiar to us. The graphical interface GUI represents 2 different interaction logics. If I want to cut the first 5 seconds of this video, the way to use GUI is to import the editing software first, find the corresponding time point and segment, and finally export the video. The way to use CLI is to open commands. The flight window executes this command, and it is done. GUI is designed specifically for humans, because humans are not good at memorizing commands, and better at using graphics tools. AA is the opposite. Large models have learned a lot of code when they were born, command line, and other corpus data. Therefore, CLI is the native language of AA by nature, and CLI naturally has structured text input. The output error is clear. Easy language combination, automation, and a series of other advantages.
Here's a quick sponsor message. This AIAPI aggregation platform for domestic and international large models lets you access 500 plus AI model APIs at lower cost and with faster integration. Kling v3 is priced at $0.07, and the NanoBanana 2 costs $0.025 per call. Overall pricing is only 20% to 80% of the official rates, with token costs as low as RMB 0.05 per million. It also offers an online playground, so you can freely use text, image, and video models with unlimited concurrency. If a request fails, you'll be refunded. Just click the link in the video description to go directly there. If you want discounts or run into any issues, join our Discord community for prompt support, or add customer service and send the message 6 for one-on-one assistance. Alright, back to the video.
More and more companies are starting to abandon MCP in the open source community. Instead, embrace the second half of the CLI video. We will explore the advantages of MCP and CLI. What are the scenarios they each adapt to under this CLI heat? Recently, 2 very popular open source projects have appeared on GitHub. The first one is CLI Anything. All it takes is a 1-line command. You can connect any open source software to the agent framework in the form of CLI. In just 2 weeks, there are already 25,000 stars on GitHub. The other is OpenCLI. It can take any website or Electron desktop. The application is converted into a command navigation tool that can be called by AI. In this video, we will test these 2 items in depth, convert all kinds of software and websites to CLI, and allow AAgent to call these CLIs automatically. Tool automation does the work for us. ClientAnything's vision is to make all software agent-driven. A single command can CLI any open source software and easily access various agent frameworks. Let's take a look at how it works. When we execute this command, a 7-step automated process is initiated. First, it analyzes the software source code, analyze the API logic behind each UI operation, then plans CLI commands to group design inputs and outputs. Next, code to write tests and update the document. In the release, we see that the developers have tested the following 11 software. All have achieved good results. In this video, we use OpenSourceSoftwareDraw.io as an example to demonstrate. This is an artboard tool. You can draw flowcharts and architecture diagrams by dragging and dropping graphics. As we all know, agents are very bad at UI. Work by dragging and dropping. We can use CLI Anything to make draw. IO to CLI. Make it easier for AA to draw graphics. The premise of ClientAnything is that you need to install Python on your computer first. We can go to the official website of Python, download and install the latest version of Python here. Then we choose a AA programming tool that we like. Here I take Cloud Code as an example. Let's copy the first command and execute it in Cloud Code. Then copy the second command to Cloud Code to execute the installation scope. I choose the second project level. Let's restart it. Cloud Code. Next, I ask Cloud Code to add jaw. IO's project source code is cloned to this directory. Next, we can execute this most crucial command. The /anything:/anything is followed by us, the source code path of the open source project to be closed. Next, Cloud Code will perform this complex 7-step process for us. All we have to do is be patient. 46 minutes have passed here, and the AI has completed all the code writing successfully. CLI this project. Let's take a look at the documents delivered by CLI Anything. The first is an instruction file README. MD contains the generated commands and how to use the line tools. These 3 files are the specifications and constraints when writing code. Help AA better write core code functions. This folder contains Python code written by AA. Project. The principle is simple. When we run commands, in fact, this Python code is run. Python code can be done by following the draw.io file standard to read and write draw.io engineering files. This allows the same document to be draw.io software and CLI. Here we test it according to the usage examples listed in the README. First of all, the first step is to install the Python package written by AA. Here we execute an installation command in the project directory. Once installed, we can use the following command lines. For example, the first command is to create a draw.io project. This is where the project file is created. Next, we can create graphics. Use this command to create a base holding. The text inside is hello. Use this command. You can list the elements inside the canvas. This command can export the canvas to SVG. We can see the exported SVG file in the project directory. In this way, the whole process runs through. In this way, we take a software that requires complex UI operations. It becomes a command line tool that AA can easily use. Then we can get AA to intervene in that. Tools to draw more complex graphics. Here I use Codex as an example to demonstrate. I asked AA to draw a flowchart of the fast sorting algorithm with the help of the CLI command codex. First, I executed the help command to learn how to use these command lines. One of the advantages of the CLI is self-explanatory. Knowledge about CLI does not require a one-time learning. Agent. You can call help at any time to learn how to use each command. This approach is consistent with the practice of progressive disclosure prompts and skills. It can greatly reduce token consumption while ensuring the accuracy of calls. Learn how to use commands. After the line, AA starts calling these cliffs. Draw a graph for us. Codex generates a draw.io format. There's also an SVG format image that can be previewed. We can directly create a draw.io. Open the original file for editing and viewing. We see that the effect is still good. You can use it directly with a slight change. To put a software that needs to be operated on the UI, it has become a more AEA-friendly command line tool. AE Agent can use these command lines to help us perform fully automated drawing. Very convenient. We can use commands to CLA open source software from scratch. Anything is also available in the project. Some authors have already written CLA tools. We just have to find a corresponding directory. For example, OBS. This OBS.md explains how the CLA is used. Download this folder directly. AI can use the command line to operate OBS. Let's take a look at the next open source software, OpenCLI. It can turn any website or Electron application into a command line tool. We see that the author has connected it to a lot of websites and applications. We can just take it and use it. Here we install it and try it out. Step 1. First, you need to install it on your computer. Node.js. If you don't have it, you can come to Node.js official website, download and install. In the second step, we need to install a plugin first. Click on this link in the project releases. We can find this plugin. Then we open the Chrome browser. Find the admin extension in the top right corner of the settings. Open developer mode. We drag in the plugin we just downloaded. After the plugin is installed, we use the npm command to install OpenCLI. Here, it opens a command line window. Paste the OpenCLI installation command back and forth. This completes the installation. Let's test it. For example, we can execute OpenCLI Hacker News top limited 5 query Hacker News above. Top 5 hot topics. It is given here, and the result is successful. We can also type this command OpenCligrcask to ask him a question. We see that OpenCLI does it automatically. My Chrome browser opens the official website of Grok. Then ask him this question. Once you get the results, you can display them in the console. Let's look at another example. You can use OpenCLI to search for jobs on Boss. Let's start with the help just to see what parameters it supports. There are urban experience qualifications and so on. For example, I search for a software development job in Qingdao. We see that he automatically calls Chrome in the background. We found a job related to software development for us. Add later. OpenClaw supports dozens of websites and tools. I want to introduce them all here. In addition to using the command line that these authors have already written, tools can also be developed based on this project. Add the tools you need. Next, we used AI programming tools to conduct a secondary development of this project. In the first step, we first clone the original code of the project. Here comes to the project directory and opens our AI programming tools. Here, I still use Codex. I asked AA to create a brand new command. Output a list of all the blogs on this site. Codex read through the entire project structure. Learn how to create new commands. Codex did the development for us. We follow its prompts. Install a bit. The first command, then the second. The third command followed, so that we can directly use the newly created command line. I typed OpenClaw blog to get Node. JS all the blog information on this site. So we are under the help of AA. A completely new OpenCLI command has been developed. If we want new commands to automate the operation of the website, you can use this method and let AA help us develop it. In addition to using CLI anything and OpenCLI, CLI some open source software, many large software provides their own official CLI services. Let's take GitHub's official CLI as an example. Let's first go to its official website and click the download button. Install the official GitHub CLI. After the installation is completed, open the command window and enter GH. That is the abbreviation of GitHub. Then, help to see what commands are available. Generally, when we use CLI tools, the first step is to log in here. We enter the command Goslogen. Here we will be provided with a checksum. We came to this website, fill in the check code, and log in. Then we can use this command. Check out the bunch of lists on OpenCloud, or use this command to create a new repository for myself. We see that the repository has created more ways to use the commands. You can refer to the documentation of the official GitHub CLA. We'll also introduce more useful official CLA tools in our videos. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. To put it simply, MCP is the standardized toolbox of the AA large model. Large models can use these tools to interact with the outside world to obtain information and complete specific tasks. However, there are some problems with the MCP protocol design at the beginning. More and more companies are starting to abandon MCP in favor of CLI in the open source community. For example, ASO giant Perplexity announced its abandonment in March 2026. MCP has fully shifted to CLI, and there are also phenomenal open source products. OpenCloud refused to support it from the beginning. In March 26th, the developer community sparked a discussion. The craze theme is that MCP is dead and CLI is eternal. I think MCP has the following main disadvantages compared to CLI. First of all, MCP upper and lower doors occupy a high amount. MCP needs to format all tool name parameters. There are also examples of calls, all injected into the upper and lower doors. Each new MCP tool takes up a lot of token overhead. The CLI allows AA to learn how to use it on its own. Progressive disclosure to reduce token consumption. ScaleKit did a set of tests. Use GitHub's official MCP against the official CLI. On all tasks, the token consumption of the CLI is less than that of MCP. The second point is that MCP is more like a dedicated protocol for agents. The CLI is a tool that is both agent-friendly and human-friendly. Let's take a look at the GitHub example just now. For example, I asked the agent to create a branch with the GitHub CLI. Error reported here. Under this scenario, I just need to copy the command. Open a command and run the window. The cause of the error can be reproduced immediately. And I can also assist AEA with a fix. MCP is more like a black box for humans. The entire running process is inside the agent. If the operation is wrong, it is difficult to reproduce the problem locally, and the difficulty of debugging is greatly increased. The third point is that CLI inherently supports pipeline service operations. Multiple commands can be assembled into pipelines. Achieve complex tasks with ease. This combination capability is not available in MCP. Let's look at an example. Let's use the GitHub CLI to get a bunch of OpenCloud. This vertical line is a pipe symbol. It means that the output of the previous command is used as the input of the next command. It can be like splicing pipes. Combine commands. Form an assembly line through the pipeline symbol. We can first convert the data into a PowerShell object. Filter out the string containing the bug in each piece of data. Then sort according to time. Finally, export it as a CSV file. In this way, we connect the assembly line through the pipeline symbol. Complex requirements can be easily implemented with a single command. If we use MCP for this kind of task, it requires a very multi-step repetition of the tool. It greatly increases token consumption and time overhead. Of course, MCPs also have their own unique advantages. For example, in multi-tenancy, there are also scenarios with strict permission control. MCP is better than CLI. For example, there are agent cloud platforms in China. allows users to upload custom MCP packages in Python or Node format. In the cloud, there are standardized installation packages for using MCP. There is a unified and sound standard, is the prerequisite for realizing this function. CLI does not have a standardized installation package and does not have a uniform sound standard. So it is very difficult to implement similar functions. I think it's too early to say that CLI can completely replace MCP. And the two are also learning and evolving from each other. For example, Cloud Code and Codex. The tool search function no longer injects MCP schemas in full to AA. Instead, load MCP on demand and connect skills in CLI. The idea of progressive disclosure prompts is introduced. MCP. The second example is MCP Porter, an open source software developed by the father of lobsters. It can convert any MCP into a CLI format and provide it to the agent's calls. I believe that the trend of technological development in the future is each technical frameworks can learn from each other's strengths. The functions between them will be integrated with each other. That's all for this video. Thank you for liking. Support us and see you next time.